So as most of you are very well aware, things are changing and the show is going to change a little bit as well. You guys have said you would like more content to keep you occupied, so we're going to do exactly that. So we're going back to the old days of the podcast where we're going to talk about pretty much everything in entertainment. On this episode, from all the delays to the Xbox Series S and the PlayStation 5 to comic books. And of course, what's happening with films and TV. Now for members, doesn't matter what tier you are, you guys can look forward to some Mandalorian audio commentaries. Members can also look forward to the continuation of the Resident Evil 1 Remake Let's Play, and of course the retro video game reviews. But we're not going to leave everybody hanging, as Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to actually be released publicly to everybody, and it actually might already be out depending on when this podcast goes up, so make sure you guys check that out. As always, we here at the CBC just want to thank everybody who is still here, who's checking us out, who's sharing the stuff, who listens to this podcast. You guys really mean the world to us, and we can't thank you enough. Now, let's get into the next hour or so of entertainment, and let's talk about everything that's going on right now. And we'll try to make the best of everything. We'll pick up this show from here. Obviously, we stream this every week on Twitch, so if you guys were on there, thank you for catching up on that. I know we don't advertise it as much, but who knows? Might pick up a little more on it. It doesn't matter. Like I said in the intro, there's some extra content for you guys coming out, so make sure you check it out. Members, make sure you guys check out that community tab. There's tons of stuff coming out on there. As always, this is your host, Armin. We're going to do the best we can to give you a good old entertaining show with a bunch of depressing topics. So,
I was going to say, apologies in advance. This is going to be a real downer.
Yeah.
We'll stay as optimistic as we possibly can.
Here's the thing. For the next however long this goes on for, this is what you can expect from the podcast, a variety show. So we might come on here and be like, let's talk a little bit about Resident Evil 3 because it's out, or the new Final Fantasy or something. Like, we're just going to try to vary up to get, people the content, because I got so many messages, people being like, I know there's not a whole lot to talk about, but please produce this podcast because it's part of my weekly routine. I'm like, okay, we'll get it done. Doesn't even matter what it is.
So we were doing it regardless. Just come and chat nothing but crap.
Exactly.
It really, honestly,
different to what we did before.
Yep.
We're trying to maintain as much of a routine. It helps a lot. So everybody, as a positive tip, find something that is good and make it as a part of a positive routine, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing here, so you guys can be able to listen to our annoying voices once a week, every week.
Also, for up in that little tab that pops up, I said I'll make it public, so if you guys want, there's a Resident Evil 1 Remake Let's Play. Shay's been doing those. I'll make the first part unavailable, but if you go click that link, you can watch it. It's like an hour plus, so there's a little bit more content for you guys, and some audio commentaries are going to be coming out, like Ant-Man and the Wasp, for example. So
you guys get to see me literally just on a wall the entire time. Armin watched it, and he was just like, this is bad. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm bad at these games, and I apologized ahead of time while recording it that you guys are going to watch me do a lot of aimless running around because I can't remember. I have a bad memory.
Puzzle games.
See, it's not a bad memory. It's repressed memories of really bad 90s controls.
Oh, see, there you go. I love that. Even though I love those games, people are like, no, they made those tank controls to keep the horror. No, they just didn't know what they were doing. And it was the limitations of the console. I can tell you that as a fanboy, so...
And also the fact that you know it for a fact.
Well, obviously. But, as always, joining me this week is Mitch.
What's up? You can find me at Mitch692. And also, to keep with the positivity stuff, to bring everyone up, if anyone has Adobe Creative Cloud, right now, if you go to cancel it, and say it's too expensive and keep going through the cancellation steps, you can get 2-3 months as an offer.
Oh, wow. Well, that's nice.
So my annual contract is now free for the next 2 months, because that's when it ends. So
that is nice.
That's awesome.
Also, we are joined by Tristan.
Hey guys, you can catch me at It's J Chance.
Yeah, Tristan, me and him will get into, obviously, more when we talk about the gaming and stuff, and as things start to, get into a normal, we'll get back to the gaming podcast, but it's kind of been dead up until now, but we're going to roll that into this, show, obviously, for you guys. And then I'm also joined by Shay this week.
Hey, guys. You can find me not posting because I've been so bad at it. But my Instagram is Michelle1602. And
you show your Resident Evil Let's Play.
Yes, well, they were just hearing the fact that I'm going to be facing the wall. So, but yeah, the members, you guys can all see my shilling of myself attempting to play Resident Evil 1 by myself. So far, right now, so you guys can know, I am at 11 parts of me playing the game, and I attempt to get better, and then I say it out loud that I'm doing better, and every single time
you don't do better.
it's actually quite hilarious. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Now, a shout out to the community. Y'all dropped the ball so hard on joining me on Call of Duty Warzone. Now that Solos is out, I'm not playing with you. Mainly because I'm doing the solo Call of Duty Warzone because it's really intense, and I'm ranking up real quick, and I figured out how to do it right. Just hang by the gas that's about to kill everybody on the map for as long as possible, and move in and pick them off as they're bolting towards the center. So
I watched you playing, and that's exactly what you did.
That's what you got to do. You got to pick off the weak.
And then I told you the gas is coming, and you go, ah! And run away.
Yeah. I have a pretty sweet clip of me missing it, and I die in it, so that's pretty cool. So, yeah, that's the show, which means now we're going to get into the actual show. Oh, that was a show intro. That's what I meant to say. So, with so many things on the delay, with obviously, New Mutants and Mulan first, but we're here to talk about the comic book movies. So, you had New Mutants, and then Black Widow. Now, the future outlook for whatever happens, this could obviously affect other release dates, such as Wonder Woman, for all we know.
Yes.
What's going to happen to all the comic book movies this year? Because, obviously, they're a major part of revenue for theaters and everybody, and it's not to mention that theaters are now closed pretty much everywhere, so it's like, it's huge, it's such an interesting time.
Well, the fact that, AMC alone, throughout the United States is closing for 3 months, that is something that our government did not say they needed to do. That's what they decided for 3 months.
Right. It's like 6 weeks to 3 months. It's pretty big impact. And then, when you start looking at that, a Black Widow is in an interesting position because, that was a month away? 6 weeks maybe? 5-6 weeks?
Less than.
Yeah.
End of 24th of April for me.
Oh, so yeah,
over a month.
Just about a month. Damn. Looking at it this way, you can kind of see how things are kind of going in a different direction. And obviously, the first wave was just on caution. It's okay, New Mutants fell to that, but New Mutants, realistically, I don't even know what's up with that. It just keeps getting delayed.
That movie's cursed.
It is. It absolutely is.
I sat there and I joked when you were like, New Mutants has been pulled from theaters right now, or has been delayed for its release. And I'm like, the movie's been delayed so many times. One, nobody's going to even know it's a movie at this point. And then two, why not just put it on a service or something? Because it's they just don't want it to go out.
Honestly, that's out of the Disney stuff. That's the one I would toss up on a service.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do Mulan right away unless things get really.
Absolutely can.
You think Mulan?
We'll get into it later on because obviously we've got the topic for it, but you absolutely can.
Okay, so that's an interesting one, and Warner Brothers hasn't said anything yet. But they're coming out with, release of HBO Max, maybe? Is that going to release now? Do they put some comic book stuff on there? Is Wonder Woman have a potential to go on there? What a time, and it's kind of when you look at this, I don't really know what to, make of what the rest of the year is going to have for comic book movies, because there's a sliding scale now. Did things get delayed?
I was going to say, right now, unfortunately, it's impossible to predict.
Mm-hmm.
You can look back at 2009 and what happened then.
Yeah.
I think everything now is as bad as it is because people have learned from the last one.
Right.
So that lasted for about 18 months. So you could use that as an idea, a comparison, but we're doing things differently now, so maybe it's going to speed everything up.
True.
So you won't have to delay something like a Venom in October if it comes to that, but whatever happens, when it comes to, if they don't put them out on services and they all just release them, it's going to be a hell of a time.
It will.
You've got the challenge of, is a cinema chain or theatre chain going to survive?
Right.
Yeah.
Can they afford to open?
And again,
what the ticket price is going to be.
And that's the big thing. I know people are going, it's just a stupid comic book movie. Well, since these comic book movies got popular with the MCU, they're literally the thing holding Hollywood together for bigger revenue every year.
Yeah.
So it's fine, maybe you don't like it, maybe it's not your favorite franchise or whatever, but if you took the MCU films out of the equation for yearly box office would be literally seeing year-over-year decreases. So,
yep.
I mean, and you can toss...
Right now, it's the lowest it's been in 20 years.
It is. And that's why, things are kind of changing, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens with everything and what they're going to do. I'm hopeful things will go normal-ish soon, and we'll be able to watch some of these movies with a slight delay.
Yeah.
So
I can see them doing what they were doing prior to the closure of theaters. Is they're going to decrease the amount of people able to see the movies at a time. So instead of say if Wonder Woman doesn't move, right? It's June 5th right now is the release date.
Yep.
So if that one doesn't move and the world is slowly becoming a little bit more normal again, I can see them being so we have all of our theaters open for it, but each theater is at 50% capacity to allow people to not be all in one place. So say our theater for one. Our theater has 7 theaters.
7 screens in the theater.
7 screens, yes. 7 screens. So I can see them being all right, this is going to be a big movie. So to be able to have all of these people who did want to see it open all 7 screens for just the first day, 50% capacity though in each of those screens, you still can get your numbers. Then the next day you sit there and you decrease it.
I mean, people, every time something that happens that's affects a whole group or, the world, entertainment is always the escape go-to. It literally saves people. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to I'm watching more movies now, or I'm reading more books now, or this and that. I'm that you need that, you need that escape from it. So I think comic book movies 2020 will be tough, but down the road, I think it'll rebound. That's hopeful.
I mean, it has to.
Optimism, right?
I can see it definitely rebounding, and once everything is back to normal, I think we're going to see such a big intake of people going back and seeing these movies. Just like it was back in the World War II time.
Oh my God! Entertainment exploded. People just want entertainment once the Depression.
Yeah, unfortunately, what happened after the Roaring '20s?
Just shush. We're not talking about that. Shush.
If we're following patterns here, oh no. It's going to be, as Ready Player One predicted, the corn syrup droughts.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to have war over corn syrup.
We've got the bug drought right now, so...
So hopefully 2020 we'll see how this... Let's switch on over to talk a little bit about comic books. Now, Free Comic Book Day is a big day in the comic book industry, obviously, because... Not just do you get a free comic book, this is a way to hype up what your big thing is going into the summer. There's so much from these comic book companies that goes into this. It becomes like a special event.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously that's not happening anymore. It's been postponed/delayed.
Hey, is it delayed or is it cancelled?
I keep hearing both, so I don't know what the official... I think it's per store they're saying differently, so who knows?
Because there's some areas that, say, Vermont could potentially have theirs because we're not very affected. We also don't have a massive, huge population. Right. But New York City, I can see
Midtown
it being canceled.
No. So that's that's the thing. And now we're going to talk about the comic books themselves as well. Obviously, going into summer, this is where comic book publishers, DC, Marvel, this is where you pull out your biggest event because, you're kind of riding the hype train of the new summer movies and stuff, and you're lining up events, comics, all this, and into fall, and then you kind of slow it down into winter. Typically, that's how it goes. What happens now with comic books? Because, again, they're going to be affected, and they already are starting to be affected by this.
I was going to say, I think, see, the Image guy is trying to get Diamond to do it, or Diamond have now agreed to do it, but there's like a 3-week return on everything now.
Okay.
So like, if stores don't sell anything for 3 weeks, they can always return it and get their money back. So that kind of helped in that way, but like the production of them is not going to stop because they're basically always made at home anyway.
Right, exactly.
So but isolated nerds making things for like 8 years. So
I think what'll be the good thing here, which is why I wanted this topic on here, is I think you're about to see digital sales skyrocket because people are like, I can't get my new issue here. You know what? Comixology or this or that, I'll get it on there. And I think, that is kind of going to be an important factor looking at it forward because print media is going out, newspapers and all that. Comics are going to follow, and comics have started following because, to me personally, most of my Star Wars stuff, even though I buy the physical ones, like the Star Wars I read digitally, and I bought pretty much all the Legends on Comixology like a year and a half ago. They were like 90% off everything. I literally bought the entire collection for about $90. Like
Speaking
everything.
of sales, Comixology Unlimited right now has a massive one. You can get every single issue of East or West for like $20.
Oh my god.
That's awesome. That's one thing that I'm absolutely loving, and that people are understanding what the world is having to go through right now. So they're doing what they can to help out and compensate. Because if you think about it, what's a better way to get people into digital comic books than being like, hey, you know what? We're all social distancing, so why don't we go and read some comics? And then you guys can sit there and create chats and talk about it. And this is going to be a great way to get more people to start reading other books.
This is where DC Universe, the app, should make it free for a month.
Absolutely pushing.
Like, just make it free for a month or two so people can watch the content on there, but also you got digital comics as part of that. And it's kind of like, I can get into some of this, but I don't know, it's kind of crazy that this is how it's turning out, but I do have optimism that, comics aren't really going to slow down that much. Obviously you're not going to have the big presence because, San Diego and all these big cons, they always have such a big push to reveal upcoming info. Yeah, you're not going to have that.
Because San Diego is going to have DC's 5G.
Uh-huh.
Like, that long-rumoured event was supposed to be revealed there, and it's just like, they're probably going to do something on YouTube now or something.
Yep.
A big press release.
Release a direct video or something, being like, here's what it is, here's a trailer, them talking about it, it's...
You saying about DC Universe should be pushing, I think certain comic writers, I think Tom Brevoort and C.B. Cebulski are doing 3 months of Marvel Unlimited to people.
Ooh.
They do like a little competition giveaway thing, so follow them on Twitter. You'll probably find them doing it one time.
Well, that's nice. That's
and
great.
Luckily enough, all of the comic book artists, you're home doing a lot of this anyways, so they have the access to be able to continue making the content, and it's gonna honestly be easier, and it will be cost efficient for these companies to not physically print them. For right now, and then obviously after all of this is back, people like us who actually collecting the physical copies of them, we can go and be like, all right, we're going to mass purchase these now that they are being printed. So it stinks right now, but there's so much that can actually positively come out of it.
Yeah, there's good to come out of this. So.
I'll say if shops are smart, they start doing deliveries.
Yeah.
That too.
That too.
That would be really cool. A lot of shops already will hold off your little package. Like, you can do a subscription, and they'll put a little box away. Sit there and be like, all right, it's going to cost us $5 to mail it to you, so here you go. We'll mail it to you now, and there you go.
Like a lot of stores I've been seeing, even online, they are now either shipping or doing sidewalk pickup now. So
yeah, that's smart.
Charge like an extra $5 and just drive around delivering it straight to people's door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like the good old paperboy just driving on a bike, just tossing comics at people's windows.
Gosh, that would be awesome.
People need help right now. Like, if you know a local comic store, go be like, right, well, I'll do this.
Instead of Uber Eats, it's going to be Uber Comics.
Uber Eats.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. We'll just be optimistic, because you'll still get your comics. If you can't get them physically, you'll get them digitally. So this will be So, if you didn't see Bloodshot because it looked god-awful, you can now watch Bloodshot real soon, because is the future going to be shifting to video on demand, specifically now that tons of, well, I don't want to say big films, because they're not like your Mulan or Black Widow, but, you got The Invisible Man, you got The Hunt, you got Bloodshot coming out. Yeah, there's
a Trolls World Tour or Trolls 3.
Yeah,
the damn thing is literally not having a theatrical release. It's going straight on demand.
Yep.
Which, you know what? That's actually really it's bad for the theaters, but the theaters currently right now aren't even open. But at least these companies aren't going to be losing out on the sales of the actual movies themselves, and it will help later down the road. So when it comes to people being like, I wait until I'm able to get it digitally, now they're not going to have that wait. You're going to actually be able to have people watching it.
Here's the thing that makes me pissed off about this, and I've seen this so much, and it infuriates me. People are like, wait, Bloodshot and The Hunt are coming out, and they expecting me $20 to watch this for 2-day limited window? I'm like, dude, the film is literally out in theaters. This isn't... Yeah. You're part of the problem if you're one of the people that says, well, I want to see this, but I'll wait for Netflix or Redbox. You're actually contributing more to killing Hollywood than if you were to get, like... I just don't get people's mentality. People are like, well, they should take Black Widow and put it on Disney Plus as part of my subscription. I'm like,
so you want Disney, a company that is unfortunately suffering right now with everything that's going on, as with every company. I'm not saying just them specifically, but you want them to lose out on $1 million, possibly.
Billion, you mean?
$1 billion, yeah.
I was going to say $1 million. That's instant.
You want them to lose $1 billion because of the fact that they released it just on Disney Plus.
That's the thing. Like, if Disney Plus was to make a premium tab and be like, hey, 2 days only, you get it right now this weekend, then next weekend, that'd be great. But then people are going to complain about, well, I thought everything Disney Plus is free. It's a no-win scenario. But what I like about this is, I think the next month will prove that video on demand can sustain releases. Because, let's be real, nobody was going to go see Bloodshot in theaters.
I wanted to.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to go. So,
yeah, I know.
Bloodshot was like, oh, look, this film is coming out. It's clearly going to get destroyed. Now, had they been like, well, here's this on-demand service, you can have a limited theater release, but big film coming out straight to home, I think it honestly would have made more money at home.
Well, here's the thing, right? I know it's a completely different film from a different franchise and a different platform. Mm-hmm. If, say, hypothetically, they put Mulan straight on Disney Plus at like $15 for a 48-hour rental, right? As of early February, Disney Plus had like 28.9 million subs in the States.
Yeah.
Right? If you add that up, that's nearly 600 million.
Yep.
If every single person did it without having to actually split the price of a movie ticket with the chains.
And that's the thing. Could you imagine, like, let's say, like you said, 28 million. It could be up to 30 now. It could be 25. Maybe they lost some. Who really knows? Because the reports always...
they reckon that half of every family in the States has it.
Right.
That's a massive population.
So imagine if out of, let's just say, I don't know, What's an optimistic guess as to how many they have today? 30 maybe million?
I would say
I mean,
30.
I wouldn't have guessed. That's why I was only going by the February numbers, because it's a more solid, easy
All right,
to
so let's say they have 25 million. Maybe they've lost some due to what's happening. If they were to release Mulan and charge you $15 to $20, let's say if only 5 million get it, you're releasing it on your own home service where you're keeping 100% of the revenue.
Yep.
Now, that is pure profit, and then let's say you release it to other on-demand services, and you're getting a cut of that. There is no way that the film actually loses money. It will make more money than imaginable. So I think it would be a good test, but optimistically, I would test it with New Mutants first. Yeah,
and here's the thing, too. It's like, guys, you go to the theater anyways. There's a lot of people that will go to the theater. Say if you're a family of 3. So let's like us. We're a family of 3. We went to go and see Mulan. Alone, just in ticket sales, we would have been spending about $25.
That's because we see it in the middle of the day when nobody else is there.
Yep.
If we would have went at night, it's about $35.
Exactly. So we, as a
for 3 people.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, we have something.
That's ridiculous cheap.
We have a T-Rex, and that's actually where we would have seen it too.
Luckily, so for us, it's a smaller local one theater. He has 2 theaters that they own in 2 different states, and that's it. They have a membership program.
Yep.
And also, we don't have IMAX or anything like that. It's just a basic screen that's just bigger than others. So it's like, but if we were to go to like an IMAX or something, it's like $18, $19 a ticket.
Yeah.
But we don't have any in the States. So
up to $22 a ticket. But we're
I say, depending where I go, out the 3 I've got near me, I could pay, for a single ticket, I could pay $20 alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we're very lucky, and mind you, that's going to save a lot of families money. Also, you have all your concessions inside your own home, so you're able to eat what you want. And if you go to a theater, you're only paying to see it once for that $20. Say if they do it and they're like, okay, well, we'll release it for $20, then you're able to watch it as many times as you want within a 48-hour period.
That's not a bad service,
No, it's not a bad service at all. And
also, at home, you could be like, well, there's 6 of us here. Whew, thank God we didn't have to spend that much money. It's like that's $100 in some places. So, again, I think video on demand, I think this will prove that it's viable. Yeah. And, I'm excited to see, because I think there needs to be a...
It needs to be a paradigm shift.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be one, because...
Look at how successful right now, Amazon and Netflix movies are. Amazon, we'll go with just Amazon right now, because they have rental movies available. If you have Prime, you don't have to pay the rental fee, but they do have rentable movies there.
Yeah, and then if you're part of Prime, you get cheaper than some other movies that aren't part of Prime. So it's like they have a good system on there.
So it's not like this isn't something we haven't heard of. It's just on the bigger level of...
I'll say, day and date has been a thing for a while. It's not a new concept.
Right.
It's mainly an indie movie thing that's done it.
Yep.
The only reason why it hasn't really taken off is because no big blockbuster's done it.
Yeah.
And that's because there's been no platform for that. Yes, it will. Cinemas and theaters will take a massive hit, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go away. Because you look at bookstores. Books are digital and physical.
True.
It's still a physical bookstore. You can coexist. You can go in there, whatever. It's just a pure case of.
And when it comes
it's a weird situation.
When it comes to theaters, we love going to theaters because we like being able to share the energy with everyone else who's there. So it goes to your point that it's going to temporarily hurt the cinemas right now. But in the long run, it's not going to, because people still want to have that human interaction.
Also, you have to look at how Hollywood is so resistant to any change. Because they're all run by these old people. They're set in ways that haven't worked in 50 years. And I can give you a great example. The news, entertainment news. People would rather watch a 3 to 5 minute video of somebody telling them what the article said than read the article themselves, which will take them a minute. Again, because they go. They want to consume it so they don't have to read it, and they also like a persona behind it and an opinion. Like, the things are changing. Like, I think this video on demand will be a change. Like, they're going to notice being like, you know what? Like, Bloodshot is actually going to make money.
Yeah.
And that's the
and
thing.
here's the thing as well, right? NBC Universal have been clearly thinking about this for a while.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way they did this quickly.
Yeah.
It just doesn't want to, it's been a week since it's been classified as what it's been classified as. Let's just do it now. Like, they've been thinking about this for a while. Mm-hmm. And I know people like to think studios like Disney hold theatre chains, like, by the short and curlies. They don't.
Yeah.
They both do. Theatre chains are just as bad as studios.
Oh, my God, yeah.
So, this was always going to happen. I think that right now you just have an excuse for it to happen. Yes, movies like a Black Widow and a Mulan, or probably more like a Black Widow, will have something in the contract stating it has to have a theatrical release. You can have it on demand first and release it later on. You're still abiding the contract. Contracts can always change as well. Yeah. So, hey, we're not going to make money from this movie because nowhere's open to show it.
Right.
Here's the reason why we're going to put this on here, and we're going to make $600 million just for us.
And I mean, of course, you said contracts can change any time. As we found out, Hawkeye, was originally supposed to be a movie, and Kevin Feige sat down with Renner and was like, I was nervous to talk to him and pitch it to him, but I said a TV show, and he was like, what? Okay, yes, roll that over into a TV show. So, again, contract, if you have a good working relationship, you're probably smart enough to agree and change it. So, I know, we'll find out.
Someone needs to pull the trigger on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's not Disney with Mulan, I'll be surprised. Because people can deny it as much as they want. Every studio is talking about this right now.
Oh, definitely.
There's no NBC Universal. People are going to be like, let's watch what Trolls does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So, probably in about a month, we'll have a bigger picture of how profitable some of this is, because in the next week is a few films coming out, and then obviously they're going to keep rolling out. So
I'm just excited. I actually get to watch Deadshot. I love crappy
It's
movies.
so good, you forgot its name. I love it.
Wait, I called it Deadshot, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Bloodshot.
That tells you the excitement. You're so excited. You're so excited, Shay.
I love those
That's
crappy
a 50%
movies,
reduction in shield money.
Whatever.
Next up, most of us on here play video games. We've been waiting for the next wave of info from Sony mainly, even though Xbox just a couple days before Sony revealed all the tech specs. Now, we're not going to get into the numbers game because
please don't.
numbers are stupid, for one, because you can't really match up technology per number because there's so many other factors that go into it. The PS3, for example, on a technical level, was less powerful than the Xbox 360, but it pulled off better-looking games like The Last of Us and Uncharted that weren't being pulled off on the 360. So again, it's up to how you utilize it. What we know is that about somewhere in the fall, they're both saying, so I'm not even going to say about things.
It's going to be the typical Christmas release.
Yep, Christmas release for both. And they're both high-end machines. Xbox Series X, the specs in there are looking like a $600 to $800 machine, just on what components are being used. The PlayStation is looking at about a $475 to $550 machine, because they're still using like a solid-state hard drive. If some of you don't know what that is, no mechanical hard drive moving parts. It's like a memory card. Yeah. They're using ones that are kind of like almost off the shelf, just semi-retrofitted. Microsoft has a whole entire proprietary thing they're building in-house, which is more expensive. Both using AMD graphics, which is great. AMD's a great company. And they're kind of like the same family, just the Xbox one is more powerful. But on the PlayStation side, the central processing unit, the CPU, which runs the entire thing, it's better on the Xbox Series X to a degree, but the PlayStation 5 can utilize the actual hard drive to do stuff that's never been seen before. Like, they can load all of Spider-Man in 0.25 of a millisecond. So,
right. I'm just saying, like, right now, it's basically efficiency over power.
Yep.
Or over raw power, basically.
Yep. So they're kind of like splitting head. Like, there's no clear victory yet because obviously you have to wait a little bit to look at it. But what excites me is that they're both still hyping up the next gen consoles. Like, they're like, no, it's still happening. Don't forget about us. And
I'll believe it when they're out.
Same.
To be honest.
Same.
Right now.
Yep.
I can see there being a slight delay in the release of them, not actually coming out until 2021, only because they can't produce them right this second.
Right, if a factory shut down, what are you going to do? You know?
So there's that on top of who's going to want to spend that much money after these couple of months.
I mean,
it's going to be tight.
Even optimistically, if you're somebody that's like, you know what, I'll go buy both of them because I'll be saving, money's going to be even tighter. Yeah. So if you have to get one, you're going to want to choose one. Personally, for my preference, I would go with a PlayStation because I know their exclusives are not coming to PC. And my PC can run everything on ultra high right now. So, well, other than the 2 games that are being ported by Kojima. Other than that.
I mean, Horizon's clearly a test to have everything else on PC. Let's be real.
I think that engine, maybe. But in a generation behind kind of makes sense. And if you look at it, you know, like, I boot up I don't play much on my Xbox anymore because I use their Game Pass.
No.
And all their games pop up on PC. So, like, I was playing Gears of War 5. And it looks infinitely better than what my Xbox One X does. So I'm like, well, and I also got keyboard and mouse support. So again, you know, I think the industry's changing, and these 2 machines scream of change. Like, they're approaching next-gen gaming from a technological standpoint that's rewriting how they're going to make games. Like, could you imagine loading, like, literally the PlayStation loads anything in less than, like, a millisecond? Like, that's insane.
I mean, I don't believe it purely from my PS4 right now. It takes a decade.
Yeah.
So, like, that much of a leap in a generation, yeah, I believe it when I see it.
So get this, I play, you know, like I said, on PC, and I'm playing Metro Exodus, which is a pretty taxing game. I have it all maxed out. I can enable some ray tracing, but I don't like what ray tracing looks like for some reason. I guess I'm in the minority there, so I don't.
You got the old man eyes?
I think so. It looks too good for me, I guess. So I have one of those, like, EVO drives, or whatever the hell they're called. They're like the top-of-the-line solid-state drives, right?
Yeah.
I go to boot Metro off of that. My load time is 1 minute and 45 seconds on a rig that can literally boot up The Witcher 3 in about 5 seconds and be loaded and playing. So some games are loading so much instantly that's like, dude, this takes forever. And, like, I like that Microsoft showed instant resume on, like, up to 5 games. And it literally takes, like, maybe 5 seconds to switch between a Forza and, like, I don't know, whatever the hell else you're playing. Like, you don't think you need that right now, but that is going to be a game changer.
Like, here's the thing. Mind you, I'm not very tech savvy and all of that, but my brain right now is like, okay, they're showing you that it can do this. It's within 5 seconds. You have 5 games held on here. How large were those games? Was that only demos of those games?
Oh, it's the full thing.
It worked.
Yep. Here's the thing. When the company says it, I don't trust it. When Digital Foundry tests it and tells you it's true, you trust it. Because those guys are like, let us count the pixels on the crotch of Gears of War 5 and tell you if there's a difference in the lighting on the pixel count. I'm like, I will watch a 30-minute video on pixel counting crotches. Of course. You know, like, legit, they break down every single frame of everything. It's just, and they tore down the Xbox One or Series X, and they're like, oh no, what they're saying is possible. Like, they saw in action, which is pretty impressive. But there was, showing you, like, they show off an original Xbox game, boot to a 360, then boot to a new game. So it's like, it's impressive that you can do that, and I like that idea of, I don't have to wait much, because currently, like, I'm like, I'm waiting for a Call of Duty Warzone match. All right, I'm just going to pick up my phone. I'm going to scroll a couple lines. I'm going to go post something here. Or maybe I'll schedule...
The worst game I played in recent memory for loading times is Destiny.
Oh, my God.
Destiny is horrific.
Oh.
You could literally sit there for 5 minutes. Even like Monster Hunter World is bad. And the gameplay makes up for that. But, like... It's crazy how long games take to load.
Here I am. I'm playing on a PlayStation 3, playing Resident Evil 1, like remake, remaster, and the load times for me, mind you, like I don't do a bunch of gaming, but when I do, I deep dive into that particular game.
I mean, think of it this way. Those loading doors in Resident Evil were a sign of aging because they were there to mask loading.
Yeah.
Right? But you're not going to have that anymore. It's like, that's impressive.
So they're actually going to walk through a door, like real normal door.
Yeah.
And here's
you could play Mass Effect without waiting 5 minutes for the elevator to go up.
Right. Well, it's like if you played a new Resident Evil Remake 2 or 3, that's like the same thing. You know, you don't have those doors. It's continuous on like open world games. And
so what are devs going to do with this? Because they can't cut corners on that now.
So here's what I talked to somebody that is a game developer that I know that he does develop games for a pretty big company. I can't say what or where or what they're doing, but he said essentially, imagine Assassin's Creed Black Flag was something he used for example for me because he knows I love that game. There was clear loads in there when you would get off a ship to go to the thing. You know, they masked it because you're swinging off. He said they could preload the entire map of Assassin's Creed Black Flag in literally a fraction of a second, and you will never see a load screen. Nothing will ever have textures. And right now, like when you're playing a game, what's in front of you is loaded. What's behind you is being drawn in a kind of like a lower quality. So sometimes if you spin around quickly, you'll see it load back in. That doesn't exist anymore because everything is permanently loaded.
Wow.
And the fact that they have it running at 120 to 144 hertz. Now, some of you won't know what this means. I have a monitor that's an ultra-wide 144 hertz refresh rate. So if I'm playing a game maxed out and the frame rate is at those levels, it literally changes how you see things. Like, because I play, like I said, Call of Duty, I'm playing on PlayStation and on the PC. It's insane how responsive the PC and how my kill-death ratio is way better because it's just smooth. Like, it's hard to convey unless you see it in person or experience it.
You also said that there's more of the screen available. Like almost like how in real life you have your peripherals, that not everybody's trained to use their peripherals, but when you sit there and you watch the game, because I've seen him play it on both. When he plays the game on the PlayStation, it looks a little congested, but when he plays it on his PC upstairs, and mind you, it is a slight curved one as well, so it almost mimics how you would look at it with your peripherals.
I literally have an extra 40% field of view. It's
I was going to say
huge.
that's sliding the POV up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just crazy. Overall, I'm excited for the next-gen systems. I know, Mitch, you're obviously a gamer. Shay plays some games here as well. What do you think? I know a lot of people are looking at Xbox and just going, well, I don't want it because I also have a PC that could play it. And I kind of agree with those people, but what would make you get an Xbox at this point?
Fusion Frenzy.
I mean, it just depends on what games they got. That's it.
Yeah.
The reason I stopped playing, I haven't turned my Xbox on since November. Mm-hmm. I do an online racing league, or I did, and we're not necessarily doing it this year, but that's all I kind of ended up using it for.
Yeah.
And it's a £600+ console isn't really going to be worth that.
Yeah.
So depending on what they do now, if they have some great exclusives come out, I'll look at it, but it depends. No. Because I'll get one, I'll wait a year or two, then get the other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's typically how I go. I space them out by a year. That's what we did with we got the PS4 and then we got the Xbox One about a year later. To me, honestly, because I love video games, I want to play them all. Sometimes people are shocked. They're like, I never thought you'd play a PGA Tour golf game. I'm like, I just love video games. I'll play anything as long as I hear it's good. I know nothing about Dragon Ball Z, but I picked up that 2D fighting game. I don't know, Fighter Z.
Fighters, yeah.
I played the hell out of that game because it's such a good game. Again, I know nothing about that series. I just love playing games. And the thing with me is exclusives. I don't care how much power your console has. Exclusives are what sell it. Yep. And all I have to tell people is, in this household, we own 5 Nintendo Switches.
Yep.
We love Nintendo. Dude, there's so many exclusive Switch games. I'm like, well, I gotta buy a Switch game.
We do Limited Run, and Limited Run has such a great partnership with the Nintendo Switch, and a lot of games come out on a physical form for the Switch. So that's another reason why we do. And it's just so easy, too. Like, we could sit there and be playing in bed and then be like, all right, well, you need to record a video. I can take that, go downstairs, play it downstairs on the big TV, and then go back upstairs. Like, it's such a versatile system that literally has...
the Switch is a game changer.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That literally has something for everyone.
And, the fact I can literally, and I did, carried over my Witcher PC save onto the Switch, played for about an hour and a half. I shut it off. The Switch was automatically uploaded it to my Steam cloud. I booted it up and I just continued on PC. That's impressive. Like, where else are you going to get Mario games or Killer Zelda games or Pokemon? You know, like, you can't. And
I would say the Switch for me was purely a Pokemon console. And it's just like, you know what, I'll branch out a little bit.
Yep.
I've always played that Mario and Zelda, by the way.
To me, I knew the Switch was a big game changer for me when I picked up Fire Emblem, which is a game I always looked at and just laughed at. I was like, this is stupid. I don't get this stupid anime, whatever the hell crap. And then I ended up sinking 60 hours my first run, 40 hours my second run, and I'm on my third run with the third house on that game.
He's basically become a weeb.
It's literally my favorite game of last year. Like, I can't tell you how good that game is. I'm like, well, I never thought I'd play this game. Like...
And that also helped branch him out into, like, Persona 5 and, like, so many other different anime games. So, like, it's such an amazing console to be able to do that. And, like, honestly, it's also cheaper. So, like, right now, like, say if you're looking into next year and you're like, well, what's going to be the best thing? It's like, well, if you're not really a big gamer, the best thing is honestly the Switch.
That's also the thing, like, the PlayStation 5 will have PS5 exclusive games.
Yes.
They said the Series X, if that's your choice, will have no exclusive games for 2 years. Because they'll all run on the Xbox One X. So I'm like, whoa, I can just get Halo Infinite on there, I guess.
Get that, and I think that's a great idea. Because why should the last generation just be automatically obsolete? Mm-hmm. So I don't get when people be like, oh, well, why would you want backwards compatibility? It's like, well, why wouldn't you?
So, to me, my only argument is... and this is kind of like, it's from that because I always love new technology and stuff. If they're to announce a Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or a Spider-Man 2 tomorrow and tell me it's cross-gen and it works on both, the PS4 has to cater to the 2013 console, right? So they have to keep that in mind with the limitations. Once you restrict it to a next-gen console, you're not restricted by that. You know,
but at the same time, not everyone can afford that new console.
And that's kind of the problem, because it's like, and that's kind of like what also pushes you to next gen, right? Like imagine originally the Xbox 360. I had no interest in that console, but I remember Shan and I looking at Dead Rising and being like, I love Capcom, I love zombie games, we're picking it up for Dead Rising. Had Dead Rising been on the original Xbox, which it was actually intended to be at one point, I probably wouldn't have made that jump so early. So it's like, I get both standpoints.
It's like Breath of the Wild. Like, I assume you had a Wii U.
Oh, I still have a Wii U, yep.
Is that, would you have got that on the Wii U? Because that game was clearly made for it.
I mean...
Seeing as the Wii U's literally in the menu screen.
Yeah. I played it on the Wii U. I actually think we have a copy, and it runs choppy as hell. So it's like, it's interesting. I think what people need to know, though, is no matter which one of these consoles you pick up when they come out, I think you're going to have good stuff to play on both of them. And, I'm not going to go without saying Microsoft, I give them the most amount of credit for Xbox Game Pass, because I haven't bought an Xbox game in a year now, because they're all for $100 a year available literally on Game Pass. Like, they're saving me so much money. It's insane.
So what was that Dragon game that was being made for Xbox?
Oh, Scalebound?
Yeah, whoever gets Scalebound will get my money.
Dude, that game looked so good, and then cancelled.
Now, I was like the only one hyped for that game when it was announced. Like, give me that damn game.
Apparently,
I know it's built.
Like, Ninja Theory wants to complete it, but it's a Microsoft IP, so they can't.
And say, Microsoft, put it out, and I'll get you down console.
Yep, that'd be nice.
I'm excited for the console because of the fact that they're remaking Fusion Frenzy.
Not even that. Like, it's not a quote-unquote remake. You put your original Xbox disc in.
Oh, yeah.
It upscales it to 4 to 8K, 120 frames a second with HDR. What the hell? That's magic.
And, like, mind you, like, Fusion Frenzy came out when Armin and I first started dating. That literally was our game that bonded and broke us at the same time.
That and Resident Evil... Oh, no, Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yes.
those were the games that we would literally play all the time together. And the reason why I say Fusion Frenzy, like, make and broke us, because if I would win, he would be salty. And then if he would win, I would be extra salty.
It was it was Microsoft's version of Mario Party. That's what it was.
I was going to say, I remember being like a Mario Party.
Honestly, I thought it was better than Mario Party, but that's my own opinion. Please don't hurt me.
But to be fair, Mario Party is the most insidious game I think has ever been created. That thing is designed to break people.
Oh, it is.
Just like Monopoly.
It's horrendous.
Monopoly.
It's like they took Monopoly and made it worse.
Yeah.
It's just
legit. So, with that, you guys in the comments, let us know what console you're going to pick up, or maybe you're going to hold off for a while because the current consoles are still pushing amazing games, as we see from Ghost of Tsushima coming out, which looks unrealistic. So, oof, boy, that game looks good.
You mean it looks unreal? Or
no, it looks unreal in a good way. Like, it's clearly gamified, like, feudal Japan, but it has that... I don't know how to describe. It doesn't look real, but it looks stylized realistic. Like,
I was going to say,
it.
I couldn't tell if you meant unreal as in, like, the good, this thing looks unreal?
Yeah,
like
a good, this thing looks unreal. I don't... Just go look up Ghost of Tsushima and understand that game is pushing, like, Sucker Punch in a direction they've never gone in as a game developer, and it looks just mind-blowing good. Like, it almost puts God of War graphics to shame, which is... It's insane. And that's a current gen
I'm just
console.
holding out for Final Fantasy VII. That's the only thing.
Yep. Oh, I can't wait. That'll be my first time ever playing it. Spoilers. I know who dies.
Everyone knows you.
If you've ever played a video game, you know.
Guys, for years.
It's like if you watch Star Wars, you're like, wait, Darth Vader is the father? It's like, what? Have you ever looked at pop culture?
So I'm pretty certain my nearing 60-year-old mother knows who dies in that game.
Exactly. So, discussed movie productions, delays, and all that. Let's talk about TV, because it's a completely different beast when it comes to productions and schedules. So, what's going to happen with TV?
Exact same thing, because hasn't it already happened?
It's really interesting to see how, at least right now, how certain things are adapting. So you have Jimmy Fallon, who literally just did a live show from his home yesterday, or possibly like a little bit ago, but he did it from his home. And I think it was adorable because of the fact that like his kids kept, or his one kid kept getting in the way. I didn't watch like the full thing, but everything is shifting. And Wednesday, we watched All Elite. All Elite still produced their show.
For those that are unaware, that is a wrestling promotion. I should preface, because not everybody knows what you're talking
about.
about.
Elite Wrestling. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
What?
See, Shay, you have to kind of explain. Not everybody knows what you're talking about. You assume everybody knows, but...
Okay, I apologize. All Elite Wrestling, on Wednesday, they still showed their show. But it was in an empty arena. And they literally only had the, like, government-mandated amount of 50 people. So it was very weird because you didn't have the natural energy of the fans cheering everyone on. But they still put on a massive, amazing performance to be able to kind of allow people to have some normality in their everyday life and in entertainment. So... things that are able to do it like that are going to continue. Late night shows, they can continue doing them in their homes if need be.
What I thought was funny was I was watching a report, and it was like on TV, and it was news reporters reporting from their home, right? And one of them was like, it's funny you look at YouTubers, and they've been doing this for like a decade, just sit in front of a monitor and tell people the news, and now they have to do it, and they look unprofessional because they don't know how to light something or how to do it, and it's like, it's funny how that's happening. if you look at the other side of it, the entertainment, all production has stopped.
Yep.
Obviously, post-production can continue remotely. Like, you can work and edit some stuff, but...
Right now, you look at something like WandaVision, that had finished filming.
Yep.
It's now kind of like being edited at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Marvel Studios, I have editing software, so...
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, I was talking to Armin about this. I'm like, not all of them will be able to do it from home.
No.
Because of the fact that there are so many people outside of their normal life. They keep work and life separate. And a lot of these video editors probably do the same thing. Like, they don't have all that same technology and all that software in their home. But their companies can allow them to take it home,
and
possibly.
That's another thing. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast we recorded, a game developer friend I know works for a pretty well-established game developer. He's not allowed, or was not allowed, to work remotely from home because if somebody got on his computer or saw a game that's in development that has not been announced yet, people would absolutely, that info would get out there, and it would ruin not only their idea of marketing, his job would probably be in jeopardy. So some of these companies are going to have to consider things like that. Like, famously...
you look at Bungie right now. Bungie's moved the entire... I think it's the entire workforce to working from home.
Yep.
How they're doing that with, like, updates and stuff, because they just, release some new content. Like, I don't know how it works, but they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Well, that's exactly how it is, and, like, it's crazy to think about that, and I know most people will probably remember the story. The Shadow of the Tomb Raider game was leaked because a worker who wasn't supposed to, but he wanted to do some extra overtime, was working on the game on a laptop on a bus, and somebody saw it and was like, yo, that's new. So he snapped a picture over his shoulder and leaked it. Like that's crazy.
That's crazy.
But that's how that game was confirmed. So, it's TV production delays and video games and all that. It's an interesting position to be in because they clearly... For all we know, a week from now, they're like, well, everything's clearing up. We're back on schedule. It's like, oh, whew, that was a terrible 3 weeks.
Falcon and Winter Soldier can wipe the sweat away, because that thing has had a rough time filming.
Yeah, literally, around every corner.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're nearly done. Oh, Puerto Rico has an earthquake. Well, we've got to leave Puerto Rico now, unfortunately. It's like, I can't remember where they went to replace Puerto Rico, but they literally get there, they set up, they start. It's like, oh, no, you have to come home because of what's happening. And it's just like, oh, we had like 4 days of shooting left to do. Like, can we just finish it?
I can see them prior to the stricter mandating that everything is going under right now, that they were able to get into a studio and just it may be unfortunately green screening it, but I can see them...
say no, they shut down production on it.
Jeez.
Oh, okay.
Should have just gone on that.
I think that's what they wanted to do, but you have to book studio space.
Right.
So everything is already filming, like, is already there. So it would been...
And I did see people being like, well, why don't they just use the Mandalorian sets because they could CG everything? Sure, but the Mandalorian was shooting there.
Yeah.
So
I was saying, Mandalorian was literally finishing up at the same time this was supposed to be finishing up. So it's like, well, you delay one, you delay the other.
Yep.
It's definitely like anything that's live can still continue because people can just do it from their homes, as Jimmy Fallon and others have been able to show. All Elite Wrestling shows that as long as you don't go over the recommended 50 people, they can still do it. They also have such great partnerships with arenas, and half of the wrestlers have backyard access to a wrestling ring anyways, so like they're able to do what they need to. I know...
They cancelled something now. So I thought I saw something like that, like the one recently went along, but then everything else after that is cancelled. I could be completely wrong. I don't follow it.
WrestleMania it was cancelled, quote unquote, and then they're like, well, we're going to downsize it to a performance center, which is where they train wrestlers, which they did a live show from there. And then the new restrictions, they can't even do it from one location, so they're going to split WrestleMania on 2 days in multiple small arenas with no crowds.
Right.
So we're talking about the biggest wrestling show of the year, about 100,000 people, is now going to have zero crowd.
Yeah.
I'd say Formula One was thinking about doing that, but it's like no one's allowed to travel into countries at the minute, so we're kind of screwed.
It's I've seen some of the other daytime shows that have studio audiences typically. One of them, it was about, I think it was last week, so really before a lot of the U.S. Started to crack down on things. Last week they had, I think, 10 people in the crowd, and then they had their normal production studio. So you could always sit there and have no people in the audience, which a lot are doing. And as long as your building has like less than 50 people, then then you're able to still kind of keep going. So are we probably going to see a lot of people without makeup on? Oh yeah.
I mean, we're going to see a lot of delays as well, like the CW. They
shut down, didn't they?
Yeah, and they shoot episodes like just about 6 weeks before they air, which shows in some of the quality, variable qualities.
It does.
And, I mean, the season finale of The Flash, that's probably not shot. It's,
Okay, we got to talk about this one thing, though, for a second. I saw an article on it a few days ago. Big Brother is still filming the way that it is, and they have no idea what's going on.
They're going to come out and beat Jared Leto.
Say the German Big Brother. I think it might be the German. I'm not sure if it's just like worldwide or not. But at least the German ones, they're telling them what's going on while they're inside.
They are now. From the article that I saw a few days ago, they still had no idea, and they were contemplating whether to tell them or not. Because right now, those people are safe. They are probably the safest people.
If anybody
they've got toilet paper, they've got food, they've got everything.
If anybody wants to know what would happen in that scenario in case there was a zombie outbreak, check out the old TV series called Dead Set. It's really good, and it's about Big Brother. They suddenly get released. They're like, what's happening? And the world's been overrun by zombies. So,
is that a BBC show?
I think it might have been. It was a European show.
So.
It was pretty good.
So I recognise that. Or if you want to see how to really cope with isolation, watch The Circle.
Oh, okay.
The Circle's Big Brother, but everyone's in each individual rooms by themselves.
Huh.
And they can only talk to people like through an instant messenger. It's fantastic.
Our child was watching that with some of our friends. I was like, what is this? And they're like, none of these people ever meet each other, and they don't even allow webcams. I'm like, wait, what? She's like, it's like an ultimate catfishing. I'm like, what?
They 100% do catfishing. We've had 2 seasons over here, and I think America's only had the one.
Yeah.
So if you've watched the American one, you've got 2 seasons of the English one, which are fantastic, by the way. But how it works is they get isolated beforehand, so they kind of like get used to it to an extent. Then they all go into this apartment building in each individual room. They don't see absolutely anyone. Like, they can go to the roof for like 15 minutes a day, but they get blindfolded, so they can't even see people taking them up there. And then you get a certain amount of time allocated each day to talk to whoever you want via IM, and then you get like the elimination like once a day or whatever. Whoever gets eliminated can then go and choose to see one person. So like if you're catfishing and they choose to see you, you're then like revealed. Obviously not, they can't tell the people because they're eliminated from the game. And then like the last 3 people at the end get to all meet each other, and then they do it that way.
Yeah, because
it's a really interesting show.
I watched like a few, just a couple minutes, and she was like recapping me, and my head was about to blow up because they literally watched the entire season in like a day. So she was like, this person was catfishing, saying that they were a guy, but they're actually a girl, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa, just calm down.
This sounds like...
The winner of our first season was a catfish. It's just like, wow.
Huh. Interesting. So there you go. If you want some entertainment, I guess you can go watch that. And
it'll be a bit surreal to watch it now, because this is what you're supposed to be doing anyway. But,
oh my gosh.
True. So the MCU was scheduled to start some productions And Spider-Man 3 was going to start shooting right around the beginning of July, late June. We should have been getting some casting mumblings right around now, like we were the last time. Now, there's also been talks about possible, like, slate shifting. Will Marvel do it? Is Spider-Man, how crucial is the third film? If it does get a production delay, what happens with it? What do you think?
Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, what goes on with that?
Oh my god, I was supposed to start real soon.
Yeah, because you're going to have... Loki's delayed.
Oh, definitely.
And, we know Loki and WandaVision tied into Doctor Strange, so what's going to happen with that? What If is kind of okay, because animators can work on that from home.
Yeah.
So, it all depends on what they decide. They're obviously, again, going back to what we talked about in a different topic, they're clearly talking about on-demand.
Yeah.
And release things like that. Now, the question you got is, does Black Widow tie into Falcon and Winter Soldier?
It has to. Like, I've seen people say it doesn't, but I'm like, how does it not?
There's the fact that Jim Ross alone is in Black Widow.
Yes, Jim Ross, the All Elite Wrestling commentator.
Oh, wait.
Thunderbolt Ross?
Thank you. Okay.
His name could be Jim. There's no way Thunderbolt is his real name.
Okay, so Thunderbolt Ross. Sorry. He's in Black Widow. I almost called it Ant-Man for a second. That's how thrown off I am now.
How long have you been isolated, Shay?
Not at all. Like an hour doing this. So Thunderbolt Ross is in Black Widow. Thunderbolt Ross is in Winter Soldier and Falcon show, and it's like, like, obviously there has to be a reason why he's there. They're going to talk about him in Black Widow. He's got to talk about how he had a relation with Tony Stark. It blew out of proportion, and then it's going to be like either his resentment or whatever, however it's going to sit there and move forward. Whatever the events are that happen in Black Widow puts him on that path to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like, it's clear as the day that it has to be like that, because Black Widow then would be a pointless movie if it had nothing to do with what's coming in the future.
Yeah.
But then you got Florence Pugh. She's clearly going forward. And no, that theory that they're face swapping her for now, stop it. It's dumb. Enough. I had to get that out there because that one really annoys me.
There's just
lines on her face. But no, stop it.
I don't like. To me, it's just such an interesting, because Marvel Studios is this thing that meets dates. They get it done. They have a set schedule.
They are on a timer.
Exactly, and they're the only one that's really the most like. There's no James Bond cinematic universe, so delaying James Bond 8 months, it's like, who cares, right?
Yeah. I say that was opportunistic anyway. That's the date they always release in. So they just took the chance. So.
Right. It's really interesting.
It's a very unique problem.
Especially, like, their delays, unlike Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers, they don't have a true cinematic universe right now. They tried. It unfortunately didn't work in their best favor. And now they're splitting everything up. Okay, if they have delays, that's fine. They don't have the next 20 years literally mapped out. Marvel does. They literally have every movie, every TV show, everything from now until, like, at least 5 years out planned. When they're going to release, when they're going to film, what's going to happen. Now that's on halt. And it's like, okay, well, your next 5 years that you planned, obviously you've already been planning the next 5 years after that. So is this 5 years going to be the next 10 years just because of the fact that you now have to figure out what you're going to do with this delay? Could hopefully the delay be so minimalistic, being on the optimistic side, that they're only delayed 2 months?
That's the opportunity.
Right.
Maybe 3. fine. They can make that up because they're so efficient.
So let's put this one out there. If Black Widow is crucial to the plot of what's happening to the future, which Kevin Feige has said, it builds up what the future is going to have. He said it multiple times, so people stop denying that. It's a literal quote. He said his film is important. If we get moving that road, if everything starts working out and we get to August, maybe September now, for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you would have to get Black Widow out before that.
Yeah.
And, I've seen some people be like, well, it's simple. Black Widow releases it when Eternals would. Eternals releases when Shang-Chi would. Shang-Chi releases when, Doctor Strange would. I'm like, that's literally not simple. That's changing your entire marketing strategy, the spaces you've booked, the contracts you've already booked out. Like,
it also changes all the TV shows, like their timelines. Like, it's... You can't just sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to put this movie there. What they're going to have to do is, if they don't bite the bullet, and if it gets to a point that they have to put it on Disney Plus, they're gonna do it. Like, will they potentially make a hit out of it, or take a hit from it? Probably. But you can also sit there and be like, okay, so for the first couple months, because of the fact that we were unable to put it into theaters, here it's on Disney Plus. We're gonna do like how so many people do with the anniversaries of stuff. We're gonna now put it back in theaters for 2 to 3 weeks to, one, help the theaters out, but two, then people can actually make an event out of it. I can see Disney doing that to make sure it, one, doesn't affect the remaining of the timeline that they have going, but two, they're still able to meet all the other demands that they have and be able to help others out still, like the theaters.
I say the one thing Black Widow's got in its favour for this is the prequel.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it comes out before or after Falcon and Winter Soldier, because you're going to find out about events after the fact anyway.
Right.
So, like, you haven't got to be like, oh, Falcon has got to finish its series and then Black Widow can come out, then that's got to come out. You could, if everything starts up again, like, Falcon can finish that series and then maybe Widow comes out in, like, September. Maybe it's a weird date for a Black Widow, like a Marvel movie.
It is.
Hey.
And I mean, let's talk for a second about some of the other, like, obviously Spider-Man, production. Who knows what's going to happen now? It's probably going to be delayed. Production start, I would assume, unless everything gets.
It's looking like it will be.
Yeah. What's happened to Venom? Wasn't that shooting? Because we never got the wrap. Like it.
I don't know what's going on with Venom.
Oh.
He's
I don't
oozing
think
somewhere.
even Sony knows.
Legit.
I mean, at least in Venom's favour, it can just splice in footage from Venom 1.
Oh,
just brighten it up somewhat.
So basically,
you know it's going to be the same plot.
So it's going to be like that House of the Dead movie that they sat there and they just spliced in parts of the video game.
And then you'll get the YouTube essay channels being like, "This is art." Man,
they're taking the direct source and referencing it.
Oh my gosh! Like that. I feel like when it comes to Spider-Man, his third movie is not as impactful to the current MCU universe as Black Widow's prequel, the way that they're stating how Black Widow is as a movie, and how it's going to help shape what's coming afterward. Like, Spider-Man, fine. Delay it, whatever. They have, 5 years? As long as they get it out within 5 years, Sony keeps the rights, so it's like, whatever. They're like, fine, we'll just delay it. The rest of Sony's stuff, I don't know what's... Morbius is... When was that scheduled to come out?
July, I think.
I think so. Well, here's the thing. Tom Rothman yesterday came out and said, like, they're committed to theaters. They're still going to put films out in there. It's like, mate, you haven't got anywhere to put them out.
That was good. What do you got this year? You have Ghostbusters, Morbius, and Venom. Shut up, Rothman.
Well, okay. So what theaters are you putting it in? The celebrities' home theaters?
Yeah.
Because I doubt that they're going to be the ones who are going to give you guys the massive profits that you need from these movies to stay afloat.
No, Sony doesn't have a whole lot of this, so of course they're going to say that.
I think they're also like, right now it is a very softening time, is how I'm actually going to say it. It's a time that you don't want to cause too much panic within the communities. Mind you, people would have had to have remembered Sony movies were coming out.
So, I got it right here. Sony's releases for the year: Bloodshot, Morbius, Venom, some animated movie, Vivo, Connected, and something with Kristen Stewart.
So absolutely nothing.
So they ain't got nothing. And then Ghostbusters, obviously, which... Bros...
Like...
You're going to have to rethink. You've got to rethink something.
Yeah, so it's... I can see... Mind you, though, also Sony has always said stuff like that. They're always on the... Don't worry, we know what we're doing. Come on, they made freaking Tom Holland probably cry when they had to make him say, Sony has a plan for Spider-Man. It was a great plan. Like,
sure.
Sony is this very awkward, weird company that always tries to stay overly optimistic when they're that meme of the dog. It's fine.
Everything is fine, yeah.
Adult swim dog, yeah.
If they were committed to theatrical releases, then what's up with Bloodshot?
Well, that came out. That did make like 9.5 million.
Oh, okay, Rothman. Okay. This must be the work of Avi Arad. What?
No, it's just Rothman.
Well, he's listening to Abby clearly more because nothing he's saying makes sense. I mean, this just makes sense right now. Like, that's it.
I mean, they're both Tweedledee and Tweedledum, let's be honest.
That's true. That's true. That is true. So,
but they always go in the wrong order, so they instead of Tweedledee and Tweedledum, it's Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Because they're so backwards, yeah.
Yep.
Stuck in antiquated ways.
No, it's going to be it's a strange problem that Marvel has. Because what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Do you put Black Widow out in January and make a bank in January? Like, who's to say that everywhere's going to open for these movies?
Right.
Who's to say people are even going to go if they're going to... Like, yes, China at the minute where they've they say they're over their peak. We'll find out eventually if that's actually true or not. They are trying to reopen cinemas, and I think they're doing the 4 Avengers movies, which smart way of getting people back in.
True.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works. If that works out great for China, maybe it'll be the same everywhere else. But I don't know. Because you don't want to be that studio that spent $200 million plus on a movie to put it out when everything's fine and then it absolutely tank.
Exactly.
You're going to have egg on your face and a lot of bills to pay off. So just put it on VOD, for God's sake.
Yeah,
it's the easy answer.
Yeah.
At least you're making something back.
Well, I mean, we'll find out what happens. I mean, by the time we do the next podcast, we could be talking about that exact thing. It's like, oh, look, all these on demand now.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, like, look at Disney sat there 3 months early. They put Frozen 2.
Yeah, they're like, oh, here, we'll get it digital early.
And actually, that's a really good thing to bring up. I know people will say you can't do video on demand because Disney Plus isn't everywhere in the world. Sky over here has Frozen 2.
Huh.
It's not a difficult situation to remedy that nowhere's got Disney Plus.
True.
You just put it on a different service that's prominent in that country.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that.
And you take a big old cut of the revenue that they're getting. So, yeah. So, has officially brought us to the end of the show. So, you guys got a much, much longer show this week.
So you've got like an hour and a half.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah. Because we had topics, too.
We had all sorts of stuff to talk about and varied it up. So, like I said, from now on, until everything gets, back to normal-ish, this is how it'll be, because we're assuming we're not going to hear too much news, I assume.
We also want to make sure that we're not only giving you guys heartbreaking news.
Yeah.
I would say for our own mental health and everyone else's, no.
Legit.
So,
Thank you everybody for tuning in. During this podcast, I did check. Ant-Man and the Wasp did go live for everybody as an audio commentary. It is on the channel, so it'll be annotated above in that little exclamation mark that pops up in case you missed it. So go cue that up. Join us on a very fun movie that'll take your mind off of everything up until the last minute or so, because then it doesn't get fun. But, you know what I'm saying. You got Louise. Truth serum,
Louise.
man. That truth serum.
Did you know he's a Scientologist, that guy?
You know what? That makes sense. That makes sense, yeah. Yeah. So,
Dora's dad's a Scientologist.
Yep. Apparently. I don't know how true it is, but I have heard he's a Scientologist.
Maybe, did you hear that from your cousin who's dating this person who
worse, I heard it from Twitter, so...
Oh! Must be legit.
So you could literally go either way, but...
Was it from a film channel expert? Because then it's probably true.
You're not far off. But...
Oh, there we go. There we go. So thank you for joining us for another podcast. We will see you all next week, and have a good one, everybody.
Bye, guys.